All right, the editorial: electricity tariffs and political interference. That's the story just on top of the masthead. The story begins on the front page and continues on page 12. The leading story now: global standing instructions cause tear in banking sector. Page 2. And there you have the picture of some fruit sellers waiting for buyers at Oje Fruit Market in Ibadan, Oyo State. The woman is sitting and hoping she sells her goods. All right, on politics: PDP, APC trade blame over Edo poll violence. While on aviation, federal government announces start of full operations in 14 airports. While on power, why power sector may remain in darkness. The details are on pages 4, 19, and 3. And that is all from the Daily Times. Let's cross over to the Daily Trust newspaper now. I'll start with the stories just below the masthead. Dogara is explaining why he returned to APC. The explanation is on page 28. Meanwhile, today is the 2,297th day since Chibok schoolgirls were abducted. On page 4, Fani Kayode's chieftaincy title, irreversible. That's coming from the Emir of Shikamfi. On Ida Kabir, Zamfara government distributes over 5,000 rams and 993 cows. Page 3. The lead story now: as COVID-19 delays Dangote refinery, all import takes toll on earnings. The Vice President is saying Nigeria's revenue drops by 40%, while Lagos-Ibadan rail project is also affected. There you have the pictures of Dangote refinery at Ikpeju, Lekki in Lagos. The bottom strip stories now, pages 4, 6, and 3. Some of 80,000 Nigerians stranded abroad, held as slaves. That's a wake-up call. While man who's 22-year-old commits suicide over a girlfriend. Can you imagine that? Finally, from Daily Trust, I remitted 329 billion naira into NNPC accounts. Of course, you know who's talking. Magu. That is all from the Daily Trust. Let's look at leadership now. What story does it have to say? Okay, let's start with the lead stories on electricity. It says Nigeria requires 9 trillion naira to achieve 20,000 megawatts. Experts seek unbundling of TCN. Azura Power Plant project precedes President Muhammadu Buhari's administration. That's coming from presidency. Says Oshibanjo, Fashola didn't sign agreement. Page 4. The picture is that of the Lagos State Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu, third left. Director of Federal Highway Southwest, Kuti, left. Federal Controller of Works, Engineer Kayode Popuola, second left. Assistant Corps Marshal, Federal Operations, Federal Road Safety Corps, Hygienius, third right. Team Leader, Presidential Committee on Clearing of Apapa Port and Access Road, Kayode, second right. And General Manager, Lagos State Traffic Management Authority, Olajide, right. Inspecting the closure of 3rd Mainland Bridge in Lagos at the weekend. Beside the picture, INEC is saying, we will enforce Quarantine Act in Edo, Ondo governorship polls. The story is on the front page and continues on page 6. The bottom strip story now, EFCC probe. Magu is saying, I won't keep quiet when facts are misrepresented. Page 2. On the leadership, Dogara is also explaining why he dumped PDP, but this time around is on page 14. We can't reverse title conferred on Fani Kayode Shikafi Emirate. Page 10. Sultan urges Muslims to observe Eid prayers at home. Page 2. On Niger Delta, federal government to unveil National Mangrove Restoration Project. Page 15. Above the lead story on page 2, Buratai is saying security is better now than 5 years ago. How true? Okay. COVID-19 update as of July 26, 2020. Confirmed cases 40,532. Discharged patients 17,374. And number of deaths 858, according to NCDC. Finally, on the front page of Leadership newspaper, despite COVID-19, pension fund assets hit 10.8 trillion naira. The story begins on the front page and continues on page 4. And now to the People's Daily. People's Daily has these headlines. Page 3. Man, 26-year-old, arrested for alleged defiling of 4-year-old minor. That's not a story to take lightly. While on page 6, Abuja Kaduna Railway Service resumes Wednesday, coming from the minister. The lead story, Nigeria safer, more peaceful than 5 years ago. Buratai, page 5. And the picture is that of the governor of Kano State, Dr. Ganduje Mido, assisted by the deputy governor and His Highness, the Emir of Kano, Alhaji Aminu, during the launching of the second phase of 2 million face masks in Kano yesterday. Bottom strip stories now. Governor Zulum Okowa condoled with Abdul Razak over father's death. Page 10. Niger mourns 10 flood boat mishap victims. Page 4. On 2023, leave legacies of free, fair polls. PDP governors tell Buhari and INEC. Page 3. And finally on page 9, heavy floods displaced over 100 in Benue. All right, viewers, stay with us for the stories from this day, Nigerian Pilot, Nigeria Tribune, Business Day newspapers, and of course, sports updates. We'll be right back.
Crossfire is a program that treats controversial topics on diverse issues surrounding the church and the society.
Technology drove the inflow or the outbursts of people having Bibles because of printing technology. Same way, the digital revolution has also made it possible for people to have Bibles in various formats in their hands.
As an Anglican, I believe in Anglicanism. And Anglicanism is standing on the tripod of scripture, tradition, and reason. When we are about to read the Holy Gospel, all members will be made to stand up. Assuming the Gospeler read from the phone, and he says this is the Gospel of Christ, you are likely to confuse a lot of people. Because people will be seeing phone in your hand.
In the history of Holy Communion, sir, we've never heard that somebody contacted the disease from the other person.
I think, sir, the truth is that when people are gathered together and anything happens, whether it is an earthquake or it is a disease or anything, it spreads faster and there are more fatalities. That's just what I'm talking about.
The first evangelist in the Bible was a woman of Samaria that Jesus met at the well. Immediately this woman met Jesus. She went into the town and started telling everybody that come and see somebody who told me everything about myself.
The women actually supported the ministry of Christ, supported the ministry of the apostles, but they were never called apostles.
Welcome back. If you just joined us, you're watching the newspaper headlines live from the ACNN studios in Abuja. For more on our catch-up programs, please visit our social media platforms all showing on the screen. And do well to download the VM Africa app, or Prime TV, or WeTV Africa on any app store to watch us on the go. ACNNTV is now available on Roku, Amazon Fire TV, and Android TV. Let's look at the front pages of the remaining newspapers, and I'll start with This Day. Okay, This Day newspaper has a different kind of story regarding the NDDC contracts. It says Akpabio fires back. He lists senators, House members awarded NDDC contracts. Wamboshi says Akpabio is confused. Y2Jojo says allegation spurious. All right, we keep watching as the story unfolds. You have this picture tagged condolences. Borno State Governor Professor Zulum left, and Kwara State Governor Alhaji Abdulrazak during a condolence visit to Abdulrazak over the passing of his father in Ilorin yesterday. All right, Magu denies misappropriating 332 billion naira recovered funds. Page 5. Let's look at the story above the lead one. APC, PDP intensify battle for Edo. Trade words over violence. Ruling party accuses opposition of plotting to eliminate its governors and leaders. The story is on the front page and continues on page 9. Above the masthead now, Southeast governors set to unveil regional security outfits. Urge Ayin Eze to sheath sword. The story begins on the front page and continues on page 3. Finally, on page 8, this is a report. Lagos IGRO surpassed 20 states combined in 2019. And that's all from This Day newspaper. Let's look at the front page of the Nigerian Pilot now. On page 6, no harm must befall General Adeniyi. Yoruba elders, one army. Page 6. PDP tells Buhari to address issues at home. Page 5. The lead story, CBN Governor, AMCON MD, others under probe. Accused of involvement in illegal acquisition of Keystone Bank. Discrete panel set up by federal government to look into allegations against them. CBN keeps mum over development. Page 8. You have the pictures of flood Gosh Sacred Heart Catholic Church in Gwagwalada, Abuja at the weekend. On page 5, insecurity has made Nigeria unattractive to investors. That is coming from Bajabiamila. And Buratai earlier said that Nigeria is safer and more peaceful than 5 years ago. Okay, bottom strip stories now. It's now fire for fire. Magoose tells critics, page 8. On page 5, Falana says federal government lacks the capacity to deal with violence in North. Lagos, Abuja, Lagos, Abuja, 12 other airports reopen. 12 other airports reopen. Other airports reopen for full operation. For full operations, page 9. Full operations, page 9. Southern and Middle Belt. Southern and Middle Belt Forum decries federal government statement on Southern Kaduna killings. Page 10. Again, we have this story that was seen earlier by Yakubu Dogara, explaining why he resigned from PDP. The story is on page 5. And on page 7, chapter happens to be the last story on Nigerian pilot front page. business stay. And now to business stay.
The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not